Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blooms and Banter. My name is Francesca Scalisi. I'm a 17-year veteran in the event industry, and my co-host is unfortunately not with me today, but her name is Kim Lovett. She's a 37-year veteran in the event industry and founder of the greatest event design and planning company in New Jersey. And together we are a dynamic duo for Marquee Floral's event design, where we plan events in a really big way. So today's episode is going to be on each of the elements that you may need for your wedding. And I'm going to go into a few different categories when talking about this. I'm actually going to go through some personal flowers and explain to you what that is. And then I'm going to go through the ceremony, and I'm going to go through cocktail hour and reception. So you have a really good idea of exactly what you need. You don't necessarily need any or all of these things. You might need some and want others, but this comprehensive list will give you a really good idea of what's possible, and will really help you not forget certain things. So if you have any questions today or any day, please reach out to us at any time, either in the comments below or on any of our social media channels, because we at Marquee Florals are more than happy to help you. But for now, let's get into today's topic. So again, we're talking about floral and decor. So the first category that pops up here. And I'm going to go in order in which we talk to our clients. When we have a new client come in and they're planning their wedding, we do planning, we do floral design, we do anything having to do with decorating and organizing that milestone event. And the first thing when it comes to a wedding is personal flowers. So I want to list for you some personal flowers that are traditional to have, that you may need, and just so you know not to you can crisscross everything off your list. So here we go. The first thing, of course, bridal bouquet. So that goes without saying. We also have, for either bridesmaids or for flower girls, you can also get a floral crown or any kind of hair flowers. There's also bridesmaids bouquets or man of the bride bouquet or boutonniere. And there's quite a few things that consist of personal flowers. Personal flowers are the flowers that you're going to have with you personally throughout that event for that day. So the first thing we do when we deliver personal flowers is we bring them about 30 minutes before the photographer is ready to get ready photos, because these are the photos that will take into account the bouquets, the boutonnieres, put the rings together, have an invitation, and they're going to need that to do all their stuff while everybody is getting ready. So aside from the bride's bouquet and the bridesmaids, and of course those hair flowers, if you like those too, there's also other options like a flower girl bouquet, flower girl basket, a pomander ball, which, if you are not sure of what that is, a pomander ball is a ball of flowers and it has a ribbon connected to it. So instead of the flower girl or someone walking down the aisle with a basket of petals or a basket of a floral arrangement, they have a really beautiful ball of really pretty flowers attached to a ribbon. It's just another way to walk down the aisle with something a little bit different. So there's pomander balls, there's petals, there's the toss bouquet, if that's a tradition you are sticking to. There's also boutonnieres. So who needs boutonnieres? There's the groom, the groomsmen, dads, grandfathers, officiant, ring bearer. I get these questions all the time, and that is, do I need to get boutonnieres for X? No, you don't need to do anything. Today, anything goes. You can choose to just do pocket squares. You could choose to do pins. You could choose to do flowers. You can choose to do pocket boutonnieres that have flowers coming out of the pocket. So there's many different options there, which will help you with when going through your planning. But a lot of different things that you can do, and you don't need to feel like you have to have any of these things. There's also corsages or nosegays. Nosegays are tiny little bouquets for moms. And often, moms and aunts will hold those. if they don't feel like having something on their wrist. Also, grandmothers, aunts, maybe the officiant, they might want a corsage, they might want a flower pinned on, or they might want to hold a little bouquet. So that is accounted for within the realm of personal flowers. And then, of course, there's charms and things that are very special and significant to your family that you might want to add to maybe a bouquet or something of that nature because it's really special. Maybe mom's wedding dress. You want to put lace from her wedding dress on your bouquet. So that's something we do too. That's something you can either drop off the week of and we'll do for you, or we can do on site. But there's so many different ways you can make personal flowers beautiful. But going back to what those are your personal flowers you're going to have personally for that day, your bouquets, your boutonnieres, and the bridal party as a whole, what they're going to be holding, what they're going to be sharing. Next, going forward into some more flower and decor, there is the ceremony. So depending on what type of religious event you're having, there's a lot of different traditions, as we know. So there's different structures depending on what type of religious event you're having. There's arches, there's chuppahs, there's mandaps, there's, a lot of different ways to create that front of the ceremony view where the bride and the groom are going to be. So a structural setup of some kind. Or maybe you just want some columns and some centerpieces. You could do something lighter like that as well. So floral arrangements are great for using in the ceremony, whether those floral arrangements are going on a bima or those floral arrangements are going on an altar in a church. So these are things to take into account when it comes to the ceremony. And there's also staging. There's furniture. We do, a good amount of Indian weddings here. We'll do mandaps built on stages, and we'll get some furniture depending on whatever that religious tradition needs or acquire. So that's another thing we can do. So aside from that, for ceremony, there's also signage that can be done. Now, again, I'm gonna say this a few times today. Do you need to get signage? Do you need to get programs? No, of course not. You don't need any of these things. I'm just listing everything so that you can make sure you didn't forget anything and have it all accounted for. But as I go through this list, kind of check off and make note of what you want and what you don't necessarily need. You can just leave off the list. There's also an order of events or a welcome sign that can be done for the ceremony. Another option for decor is aisle decor. A few different things can be put down the aisle. You can do candles, petals, runners, bows with flowers, centerpieces, a lot of different ideas for aisle decor. Now, with that said, not every venue will allow for these things. We've talked about this on the show before. We have to make sure that wherever you are having your ceremony, that we know exactly what they allow and what they don't allow before we put this design together. But just something to keep in mind when making a list of what you're going to need or want for ceremony. There's also tossing petals or bubbles that guests can have, or potpourri that guests can throw at the end outside. So a lot of different ideas there. But that's pretty much touching on all of the important basics. Now, when we get even deeper into the type of tradition, whether that's a Catholic ceremony, there might be specifics to each religion. For example, a Catholic ceremony will often have a bouquet for the Blessed Mother, or they might do a tradition where they present presentation roses to the moms. So there's a lot of different things depending on the religion that can be done there, which we are very educated on because we do quite a few different types of ceremonies here. So that is touching on everything for ceremony. Now, finally, I want to go to cocktail and reception. So there's so many different things you can do at cocktail and reception. I'm just going to list you some things so you know ideas because sometimes it's really helpful to get an all-encompassing list so that you can decide, oh, that's a good idea, this is what I want, or maybe I want to do this instead of that. Or so I'm going to just get everything listed for you so you can check off exactly what you're going to be wanting. Now, cocktail hour and reception starts with lounge and or bar arrangements. So lounge furniture, bar arrangements, centerpieces, anything for the bar, any furniture, all of that can be added. There's also a lot of different boards that you would use for your reception. For example, a seating board, or instead of doing place cards, you might want to do a board, a guest book, or a guest board where your guests are signing something, or maybe collectively creating a painting with their name that you're going to hang up in your home. There's so many different incredible ideas that you can do there, but often that is something that you will want at your ceremony, something that everybody can sign and leave you a little note on. So that's signage. Now, cocktail tables, a lot of venues have beautiful cocktail rooms that don't need anything at all. So I'm going to say it again. You don't need to get anything for cocktail, but if you would like to, there's a range of different types of candles and flowers, bud vases, different things that you can do to spruce up that cocktail and really make it cohesive with the rest of the day in the venue. There's also guest tables. Can't forget those. So my personal favorite are centerpieces. Along with centerpieces, aside from that being on the table, you can do chargers. You can get menus done. We can do table numbers for you. So these are just me throwing you out some ideas. There's also the sweetheart table. And I get this question a lot as well. Do I need a centerpiece for the sweetheart table? Very often we get asked that. And the sweetheart table, just so you know, is typically, it's the sweethearts. It's the bride and the groom sitting there. 2 people, much smaller table, much smaller scale. So typically the table centerpiece is going to be too big. It's going to be too big for the sweetheart table. There's a couple things that you can do there. If you have a large bridal party, you can have your bridesmaids put their bouquets along the table, making use of those fresh flowers, because typically you're not going to use those bouquets again after you enter the room, giving you basically a free repurposed sweetheart table arrangement. There's also some other ideas like champagne flutes, maybe cake cutting, that you can get either in the store, online. Depending on the season, we may have something here. So it's always good to check on that as well. And that takes me to our next item, which is the wedding cake. So flowers, we do a lot of flowers, fresh flowers on weddings, and we use the same flowers, the same colors, everything we're using for the rest of your wedding, if that's something that you'd like, so that, again, everything is cohesive. In this business, we all have OCD. You have to in this business to do what we do. So we make sure that everything looks right. I don't want to say matches, because a lot of people like a very asymmetrical look. So matching isn't necessarily what we're going for, that matchy-matchy look. But I promise everything that we do as professionals is make sure that everything is cohesive and complements each other. So there's that. Wedding cake flowers, a cake topper, a serving set, table decor for that cake table. There's also items that you can put in the bathroom. You can decorate the bathroom. You can put a courtesy basket filled with things for the guests that they can take and use during the time that they're at the reception. There's also inside of the room a lot of lighting and hanging decor that can be done depending on where you are getting married. So depending on who your vendors are, there's maybe one or more that are capable of doing different types of lighting for you. Maybe that's the venue, maybe that's the DJ. So check with your vendors. Everybody today is really versatile in what they could do. So room lighting is a big one. And if you'd like anything to hang from the ceiling, that's something we have experience with as well. There's also photo booths and backdrop walls that I don't want to forget on this list, because that's something that we have been trending for years. Photo backdrop is just huge. Everybody wants that photo to have those memories and put that on social media. So backdrops for photo booths are huge right now as well. I have two more groups left for you, and that's gifts, which includes a gift box for cards